News.
We get started at the top of the 6 o'clock hour with breaking news out of Albany. There's a massive fire that's burning at South Albany High School right now.
Yeah, we've had our eyes on this breaking news story since those first reports were called in several hours ago. Now, Brent Weisberg is there on the scene. And Brent, we know from the video you've shown us this is really bad. What can you see from where you are?
Well, the firefighters are still making their way right now. We are going to get an update right now from the Fire Bureau with the Albany Fire Department spokesperson.
So this morning about 3:20 we had a fire alarm come in for South Albany High School. When we got here there was flames and smoke, so we instantly bumped it up to a second alarm. We're now at a fourth alarm. We're working in defensive mode, so we're putting water on the building and then we have people around protecting the other buildings. You can see that the roof is coming off and the building is a complete loss.
What should parents know about this situation right now?
Parents should know that there's no school at South Albany High School today and that meals are prepared out of this cafeteria and they'll be prepared other places.
What is the tactic right now firefighters are taking to battle this fire?
So the tactic is defensive mode. There's nobody's lives at risk, so we're not sending people into the building and we're just putting water on from the outside and taking care of the other buildings that are around that. South Albany's kind of unique because they have a bunch of separate buildings, which is good in a fire instance because then we can divide that out and then take care of the buildings that are close to it.
Who is here helping right now?
Who's here? So we have Tangent, Philomath, Corvallis, Lebanon, Turner is here, I believe, and Halsey, SIO. We have a lot of other departments here helping.
As far as the investigation goes, we hear that witnesses heard an explosion. What are you hearing about
I've heard that same thing. I don't know that that had anything to do with this building, and we are not even in the place to be able to talk about that.
Can you tell us a little bit about what the building has done? Part of the sheet metal roof has collapsed?
Yeah, the sheet metal roof, as you can see, has slid off and is collapsing. At some point, if a fire burns long enough, any kind of building can collapse. So that's the other defensive part of that, is make sure that everybody stays a safe distance away and continue to work to put the fire out.
How large were the flames at the height of this fire?
They were up pretty high. I don't have an exact measurement for you, but you could see flames from the roof for a good amount of time. Fourth alarm fires in Albany are really unusual. This doesn't happen very often. I can't think of the last time that this happened.
As far as resources, you have
enough
enough fire
resources, having enough firefighters, having enough people. Firefighters work really hard. They have to rehab for a few minutes before they can go back in. Air tanks only last so long. All those kind of things that we have to take care of.
When you've talked with the fire commanders, what has been the most difficult thing about this fire? Is it simply the sheer size?
The size and the inability to put it out. And why that is, it's hard to know. We don't know where it started yet. Sometimes if it started on the outside, it can get through the roof and a good amount of damage can happen before flames actually come through. But we have no information on any of that yet.
Do you feel like you guys were prepared for something if this was to happen?
Always. We practice for that and we work with other departments all the time. So it's not unusual to need mutual aid, we call it. It's not unusual to have us come in or us go to their communities. So that's an agreement that we all have with our surrounding communities here. None of our departments locally are big enough to take care of a fire this size.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your time. Again, as you can see in this live picture right now, firefighters are still putting a lot of water right now on this fire. We know the amount of flames has slowly started to dwindle right now, but we can see a little pocket of flames still burning. And as we go out to a wider shot of the parking lot here, we can show you what we have. We have hose lines all over the place. And you heard the spokesperson kind of talking about the rehab units where the firefighters have to go and rest. That's right over here. You can see they have a little a table set up for the firefighters just in case they need any additional help. But this fire has been burning since about 3:30 and the cause right now is still unknown. And the big thing parents need to know right now is the fact that South Albany High School this morning is closed. I talked to the superintendent. She says that this is one of 11 different buildings here on this campus. She says that it is still too soon to know how much damage is done, but she describes it as very significant. She says that this is the newest building in all of the district. She says that this building was built in around 1970. She didn't have the exact year, but still fairly new in terms of schools. So she says that this is right now just a devastating loss to this community. You can see that some of the roofing has slid off the building. As you heard the spokesperson say, that is usual. That does happen when you have a fire this large. So we should let you know again, school is canceled, and as soon as we have more information about the future of this school, we will let you know. We'll send it back to you in the studio right now. Reporting live in Albany, I'm Brent Weisberg, Point 6 News.
Yeah, and Brent, you can see in that video right there, they are still actively fighting that fire. So fortunate that it happened, if it's going to happen, at least at the time that it did, because no one was inside that early in the morning. They don't know of any injuries, and that's why they are taking that defensive stance, using that surround and drown technique. But as that firefighter mentioned, this is a very, a massive fire, so the firefighters are having to actually take breaks. This is very taxing on their local resources. They've had to call in several agencies to help them fight this massive blaze. Be sure to stick with us all morning long, all day long, for continuing coverage, both on KOIN.com and our social media pages.
We'll have